Hi, I'm Warren and welcome back to the channel. Okay, today we're going to do an interesting video. I went onto ChatGPT-3. I was thinking about doing a few DAX videos for you guys to get a bit of an intro into DAX. So I asked ChatGPT-3, what would the top 10 DAX functions be that would be useful to learn to get into DAX for Power BI and Excel? And this is the list that it returned. So as per AI, the top 10 are SUMX, average, count rows, calculate, filter, related, your max and min functions, distinct count, rank X, and concatenate X. So I thought it would be a good idea today. Let's go through and learn how to do all of these DAX functions. And they do pretty much cover the basic functions that you would be using in your day-to-day jobs as data analysts or BI consultants when analyzing data. So the data set that I'm using is the data set from my intermediate Power BI playlist on YouTube. So you can go and see how to import that data if you don't know how to already. I will put a link to the data file at the bottom of this video. But it's an Excel sheet that we're pulling in. We have a sales transaction table. We have customers, product stores, and a date table as our dimensions. So we'll use this because we've got it already, and we'll go through exactly how to do those top 10 DAX functions. So let's start with SUMX. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and create a new measure table just to keep the measures separate, and I'll call this GTP3 measures. Load that. The reason I'm doing that is just to keep the measures in their own table. So yeah, we have the table here. And let's go and look at the first one, the SUMX function. So if we go to our data and I go into my sales table, don't mind these additional measure tables I have here. You won't have those if you're using the model from the course, but you will have the sales and the dimension tables. So if we look at our sales table, as I explained in the course, if we were going to sum the quantity column, that's a straightforward summing up of all the values in this column. We could use sum. But because we need to do a calculation to get the total price by means of multiplying the quantity by the price, we need to iterate through each row to get that calculation. And for that reason, we need to use the SUMX total, which is an iterating function, and it iterates and applies a calculation to every row. So if we were summing quantity, straightforward sum, just like you would get in Excel, we could sum quantity. But if we want to do a calculation row by row, we need to do an iterating sum, which is SUMX. So any function with an X on the end, like a lot of these that you see here, rank X, concatenate X, means that it goes through row by row and it iterates through the table to do the calculation. So let's go. I'm going to click on my measure table. I'm going to create a new measure. I'll do 2 here to show you the difference between SUM and SUMX. So let's go through and say total quantity. This is just to give you an example of sum. We'd go equals sum. If we push tab, it says to you what column do you want to sum. So you can see you can't do any kind of calculation there. So if we went and said, well, we just wanted to sum up the quantity, we could do that. I'll just go into a new page. And if we took that total quantity, it would give us the total quantity of all of our sales in our table. So that works fine. We can put it in a table there. And if we went and took any of our dimensions and added it, you can see the quantity by product name there. Now we want to go and do our SUMX. So if we go through, we want to do total sales now, which is the SUMX. You can push tab. You can see we need to look at a table and then apply an expression to that table. So the table we want is our sales table. The expression we want to go into the sales table. We want to take the price and we want to multiply it by the quantity in the sales table. Now what that'll do, it'll go through every row in the sales table, it'll do this multiplication here, and it will return a result and then sum up the total. So there we've got total sales. We can go and drop that in there, and you can see that it applies the sales to product. We could, because it's a DAX measure, apply this measure to any of our dimensions here. We could apply it to store, we could apply it to anything. So that is how we do SUMX, and I thought I would just add in an example of sum, just to show you the difference between the two. So there we have the first one completed.